They all died at the same time. This is why that's why Darwinism came out, to try to explain away the truth of the Bible. The truth of the Bible is solid. That's why they've been trying to refute it, but you can't, because truth is just truth. So what they did was they took something and came up with a scientific theory. Everything's a theory, meaning not proven, just this is what we think happened. The theory of evolution, we think it happened. And they came up with something called carbon dating, which can't be proven because you can only go back about 6,000 years, and then they start talking about millions. Well, you know they lying when they say million years old, because they have to excuse millions because they have to give you the time of evolution. Man did not evolve. He was created. But in order to explain how you came out of nothing, they got to give you millions of years. So it's called the Antidooveling Period. Prehistory. This is Genesis, prehistory. So now you must ask yourself, ask myself, who wrote history? Because if you scratch who wrote history, you'll find who the liar and who the people. Who wrote that? You know somebody wrote it. Now, Josephus, the scholar Josephus, said that the book, I believe it was Josephus, or as one of the church fathers, said all the knowledge of the whole world was in the library of Alexandria in Egypt. The reason why Egypt was so developed is because Egypt was the first culture that took the knowledge of the tree of good and evil through the fallen angels to the zenith, to the highest. They had it so down pat, they knew how to navigate death. See, before Christ came, you could navigate death. That was called the Book of the Dead. And they had to navigate death because at that time, there was no real torment. Death was you was just in a place, come on, talk back to me. But when the law came, now this is pre-law. You know, Egypt was pre-law. When the law came and they found out and God hit the earth with the law, man had to be judged. Why? Because man now had what transgression really was. But before that, the Egyptians found out how to navigate death. Death is a spirit. Come on. Lord, I gotta go. This is too much for y'all. So now how did they learn that? They learned it from the fallen. They ain't the first ones that knew how to manipulate demons. Solomon found out how to do it. When Solomon went start following them 200 wives, Solomon became the greatest magician. That's his 6-point star, as a matter of fact, that's on the Israel flag. It's the seal of Solomon. It's not David didn't have a star. It's actually the star of Rephaim. So that's the highest witchcraft symbol in the occult, is that 6-point star. That's why I never have it on. It's a curse when you put it on. Mighty funny. Supposed to be God's people got that star as a symbol. That's the whole nother. That's actually the symbol of Saturn, or the symbol of the brotherhood of the serpent. The brotherhood of the serpent is the bloodline families that trace their lineage back to the serpent. You know how far that is? To the serpent. These are bloodline. The serpent mixed. I ain't got to hold no teeth. Too much. Now, what was I saying before that? It was good. I went off on something. Josephus. No. He said that the knowledge of the world. So what did Napoleon and the Greeks do? What else did they do? Burned it down. If you go to Egypt, look, why did they chiseled all the faces off why do they do that? They act like you can't read this stuff. They can read that stuff. I'll show you a hieroglyph of the Sumerians. You know, that's the most oldest culture. Now, who's the Sumerians? These are Abraham's people. Abraham was the Chaldean of the Sumerians. So these are Abraham's people. They were idol pagan worshipers. That's why God told Abraham, leave them alone, get away from your people, say amen, and then he cut a covenant, and Abraham was the first Hebrew. But remember, they destroyed the gods of his father. But the Samaria culture, or the Phoenician culture, they have the hieroglyphs, and the hieroglyphs you haven't seen are modern things we have now. I just saw a hieroglyph. I wish I would show you. I'll bring it. Because I'm gonna do a sheet for a row of an atomic bomb and a nuclear explosion on a hieroglyph. I'm telling you that to show you, man did not evolve into knowledge. The fallen gave man knowledge. Talk back. So they had that knowledge already. When they found artifacts, they just steal it, take it, and hide it away. You never see it again. But they already had the knowledge. Now, so all the knowledge of the world at that time was in the Library of Alexandria. Now, what knowledge did they have? They had all the knowledge. So that means the knowledge of the cult, the knowledge of death, the knowledge of all the witchcraft. They had all that knowledge. So what happened was, white people, come on, gotta help y'all. They were cave people. Neanderthal people, the gods and Visigoths up there in the cold Caucasus Mountains, they came down as barbarians, conquering the dark races, which had already had this knowledge. The knowledge, though, they had was the knowledge of fallen angels. That's why these barbarian white people was able to conquer. Because whenever God's people go into paganism, he raises up another people to conquer them. And so what happened was the same way that God raised up the Assyrians to conquer Israel and lead them into Babylon. Talk back to me. Well, these barbarians that was up in them Caucasus Mountains interbreeding, the Bass people, I talked to you about that, up there interbreeding and stuff. That's why they got that Rh negative blood. They came down and were able to conquer because of the wickedness and the culture of the Babylonians and the Egyptians was at the zenith of their culture. They got into homosexuality and pedophilia, which now I'm gonna go off on a tangent. I gotta go here. Do you understand why every culture without God, Satan leads them into homosexuality? You don't know. I'll give you a little part of it. I don't have time to go all. I gotta give you some parts of it. Is this helping y'all a little bit? The reason why homosexuality is initiation into the brotherhood of the serpent. That's why all the secret societies, they have to do the homosexual thing. It's not just an initiation. Homosexuality is the reversing of the soul. See, a person that's homosexual goes backwards away from righteousness into rebellion. That's why they end up in such a deep, deplorable state, because it is backwards. They reverse themselves. When a person reverses themselves, their soul is wide open for any type of possession. That's the reason why Satan uses homosexual. You want to know why is the culture becoming like this? This is the height of this Western culture, this Western empire. It's the height of it. Now see, I ain't got time to tell you, but see, the Europeans, the Germans and the Romans and the Greeks didn't escape, but the Germans and the Romans and France and Spain, they escaped the total annihilation that Egypt had, that happened to Egypt and happened to Greece. They escaped it, because if you go look at Greece, they in ruins, all that's in ruins. But Europe escaped it. They got judged some of it because in World War II, a lot of their cities got destroyed. But they escaped it by coming to the New World. They came to the New World, and the judgment, see, they came over here and start building in this new land that was pure, didn't have no blood spilt in it. And so it took 250 years to judge this.